When you are communicating with someone, there are some phrases that you might mention that may trigger the other person, and you may be left asking yourself where you went wrong or what you said. There are some phrases that are gaslighting, and you might be using them without realizing. And you might ask why people keep off from you, or why you made someone angry and you don't know the reason as to why. This is because there are some phrases you might be using that indicate you gaslighting without you realizing. So in this video, I wanna make sure you take keen of these phrases that I'm gonna mention here that you might be using without realizing, and making your communication very not welcoming to a lot of people, and maybe the people that are very close to you. So the first phrase is you're overreacting. Yes, everyone uses these phrases, but these phrases might trigger someone because maybe that's not the case for the other person. And mind you, you don't even realize that you are gaslighting in this phrase. Instead, you want to do and say something like this: I see this that has upset you. Can we talk about why you feel this way? So this one makes the other person feel you're interested and you want to know what they feel and how they feel about a thing. And this makes the conversation flow with ease. The second one is it's not a big deal. When you tell a person it's not a big deal, it might be a big deal to them, and they might want to address it to you. And so when you say it's not a big deal, they may be left confused and not trusting you at all. Instead, this is what you should say: I didn't realize how much this mattered to you. Let's discuss it. This opens a forum that clearly shows that you are very concerned about what this situation, that it matters to the other person, and you are open that you sit down and discuss about this. And this brings about vulnerability, which is good to people you are related to and people that are close to you, and good relationships. The third one is you're too sensitive. Yeah, you are too sensitive. When telling someone, a lot of people, this is a very common phrase where you are in an argument, you tend to tell the other person if they are triggered by something you said, and then you end up telling them that they are too sensitive. What you might want to say is, I didn't mean to hurt you. How can I make it right? That's when the other person complains about something you did. Instead of telling them that they are too sensitive, you might go ahead and humble yourself and ask for forgiveness, that you didn't know that it hurt them, so you are willing to make it right. And this really opens up and lets people converse and communicate freely. The fourth one is that never happened. Instead, what you might want to say is, I don't recall it that way, but I'd like to hear your perspective. This comes where maybe you don't recall something that happened. Maybe someone told you something, but you don't remember. Instead of saying that never happened, you might say you don't recall it, but you'd like to hear their perspective. This really opens someone's up. Going ahead to the fifth one is you're imagining things. This is really common when we have conversation with our friends, our loved ones, and we tend to tell them that they are imagining things, that they are doing things, they are imagining things that are not there. And this person might not be imagining things, might be very concerned about a thing, or is actually wants you to open up and tell them truth. So instead, this one you might want to say, it sounds like we experience this differently. Let's clarify. So you want to clarify because both of you have two different perspectives on this issue, and so you want to clarify on both sides to understand what's really going on. The sixth one that is very common, this one is very common, I guess we use it every moment. It's a very bad gaslighting phrase that we use, and it's you're just being dramatic. That's how we tell people they are being dramatic if they are sensitive, or if they are they may be hurt, and maybe to you, you think something is small, something is not that big of a deal, and you imagine it's small, but in actuality has offended them, and then you tend to tell them they are dramatic. And instead, this is what you should do. It seems this has really affected you. Let's talk about it. When you mention something and you realize someone is acting so much about it, it might have hurt them, and you might want to tell them and calm down easily and tell them that it has really affected them, and you really want to talk about it in details. So the next one going ahead is stop making a big deal out of nothing. Instead, this is what you want to say. I want to understand why this is important to you. If someone mentions something, or maybe someone mentions their opinion, you might see it like nothing to you. So you go ahead and tell them to stop making a big deal out of nothing. But to them, it really matters. It is important to them. So you want to calm down and come to their level and understand why they are talking about this thing. So the eighth one is you're always negative. This happens a lot maybe in relationships where the other person or friendship, the person talks about things and it's not much welcoming about an idea, and you end up telling them that they are so negative. Instead, this is what you should tell them. You seem upset. Let's explore what's bothering you. If they are negative, maybe you want to explore what's bringing that energy, what brings that negativity or negative energy. So instead of going direct to them and tell them that they are so negative, you want to make sure to understand what has upset them and how you can help them. The ninth one is, if you really loved me, you wouldn't feel that way. So this is very common to friends and relationships where you think that if a person loves you, they won't feel about anything. They won't feel the opposite if something goes on. So what I want to say is, let's talk about how we are feeling without judgment. So instead of judging the other person or maybe coming to conclusions, you might want to come both on the same side and express everyone's ideas or opinions or feelings without judgment. And this really opens up relationships and builds confidence. The 10th one is you are being paranoid. This is very common. We tell many people that you are being paranoid. If something for you is like sound, it doesn't bother you, it doesn't matter to you. So you might tell them that they are being paranoid. Instead, this is what you should tell them. What make you feel that way? I want to understand. So you want to understand why this something they feel so worried about it, they feel paranoid about it, they feel unease with it. So you might want to calm down and learn and understand why they feel how they are feeling. You might want to calm down in this case. The 11th one is you're making this all about you. Sometimes we think when someone complains, all they think is about themselves, but these people actually care about you too. So you end up telling them that all they think is about themselves. Instead, this is what you might want to do. I'd like to hear how this situation has affected you. So we all maybe react differently to things, to scenarios, to situations, and everyone reacts differently, and your reaction is different from the other person's reaction. So if they complain and they are hesitant, it's not about them, it's about how the situation has affected them, and this really can help one to understand one another. The next one is you're so forgetful. If someone doesn't remember something, maybe it's not that they are forgetful, but it might be because of other reasons. So instead, this is what you should tell them. Let me remind you of what happened. Does that match your memory? So instead of telling someone that they are so forgetful, remind them of what happened, of what maybe you discussed or what maybe you went through, and then you go ahead and ask them if that thing can match their memory. By doing so, they shall remember. They shall remember, oh, Yeah, I remember that scenario. I remember that scene. I remember that you telling me that scene. I remember us experiencing such a thing. And in doing so, you can create harmony and openness among your people, your peers, your friends, your neighbors, your friends, family. And the next one is you are blowing things out of proportion. So what I want to tell instead is this seems significant to you. Let's unpack it together. So you invite the other person so that you can unpack this thing that is significant to them, and this really is a good thing without gaslighting someone. Then the last one is, why are you always difficult? You think someone is difficult because of how they handle situations, because of how they handle themselves, but in actual ways, that's how they handle things, that's how they do it, and you end up seeing them, ask them why they are so difficult. So instead, this is what you should tell them: let's figure out how we can work through this together. Instead of telling them that they are so difficult, come up together and find solutions together. Find a cure to this disease. Find means which you can work through the challenge together as a person. So those are, and the last one, I can add up this one so they can come 15. Nobody else would feel this way. So you think and you feel that everyone should feel the same thing. So when a person feels differently, you end up telling them nobody else would feel this way. So what you should do instead is, your feelings are valid, very sure, even if others might feel differently. So even if others feel differently, you want to accept and tell them that yes, your feelings are valid, your feelings matters, your feelings are important, even if others they feel differently. And this really creates space for everyone, to create space for growth and development. So those are 15 phrases or gas writing phrases that we use without realizing, and it might be affecting our relationships, it might be affecting our friendships, it will be affecting communication with others. So there are so many gaslighting phrases that people don't know. So I would like you to share one or two in the comment section about the phrases that you people use without realizing that really are not good. They are phrases of gaslighting. So thanks for watching till this point. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so, and see you on my next video.